All right, what's going on, everybody, man? Welcome back to the episode of The Truth with Najee Wilkins. Y'all know we're going to explore everything college football related. We're going to explore all the big headlines, all the transfer portal news, and everything that's going on with college football. Now, before we obviously came onto the show, we had several big headlines come out. Actually, before we even get to that, make sure y'all like, comment, subscribe. Y'all follow me on all the socials. Y'all connect with me as well, man. I'm on all platforms. Holla at your boy. Come check me out. But first, let's go ahead and just talk about the major headline that just happened just now. Okay. And that is Texas. Texas has moved on from PK. Yes, y'all. They've moved on from PK and they are going with a new offensive coordinator. Excuse me, new defensive coordinator. And they have decided to go with Will Muschamp. Okay. New defensive coordinator for obviously the Texas Longhorns. Will Muschamp is the new guy for them, right? Now, Will Muschamp obviously served as co-defensive coordinator, the past few years for the Georgia Bulldogs, right? Now, obviously that has changed. This past year, he was more of a senior defensive analyst. We know about Glenn Schumann, how that defense has turned around, how much better it looks, so on and so forth, right? For Texas, though, they did 5 seasons with PK. Obviously, performed at a high level, did what he was supposed to do. But this past year, y'all, they weren't as good as they were supposed to be. Right now, this is via Inside Texas. They were 101 in passing yards per game allowed in 2025. They were seventh in the stat in 2024, 49th in team passing efficiency defense in 2025, and finishing 24 season at number two. Right, so Muschamp obviously comes over with a lot of experience over here to the Texas Longhorns. Why does he come over with a lot of experience? Remember, guys, he formerly coached at Texas back in the days of Mac Brown. I think it was 08 to 2010. He was like 13 years on the staff. Remember, 08 to 2010, he was defensive coordinator. And then obviously he moved on. We know he has some coaching, obviously, not help, but he's obviously coached with South Carolina. And then obviously Georgia, we know that they've obviously become in the national headlines, right? So this is massive for Texas, a team that's looking to improve defensively. We know about some of their stud players. You know about Colin Simmons, right? Grayson Littleton had a big time freshman year. And then they're going to look to replace some guys, right? Michael Taff is leaving, right? Some of the guys on the defense is going no longer going to be there. So how do you replace that? You go get a guy with a lot of experience that has coached the defense as well, and kind of made his name, doing that. We look at Will Muschamp; he's become known as kind of that guy on the defensive side of the ball. And if you coach Steve Sarkisian, yes, your defense performed at an okay rate, right? Was it to the 2024 level? No, it was not. But at the same time, you need a defense to perform at a high level, right? Because a lot is on the line next year. Not saying Steve Sarkisian's job is on the line, but they want to get back to a CFP playoff. They don't like missing the playoff. Obviously, the offense has to help the defense as well and help them perform better with their play on the field. But at the same time, if you coach Sark, you're trying to get everything aligned, right? You're trying to make that run. You got your quarterback back for this upcoming season. You want to make that deep run into obviously the CFP playoff. And you do it by going to go get a big name like this, right? You get a big name like this, and this is going to help you in your program take that next jump forward. So massive move, obviously, for Texas as it looks to kind of, strengthen their defense and get better and better, man. Massive move for the Longhorns. So we'll start the show obviously with that. Now, there's been several big headlines, and there's another one I wanted to obviously talk about. I'll probably end up posting this one on my TikTok, but this is very interesting. I wanted you guys, and for my thing that's watching, hold on, I want to make sure. Can you hear me? Connection be iffy in here. Okay, clip this. I want you to clip what I'm about to say. All right. Now look, Nick Saban had this to say about Group of Five schools. Look, we would allow the winner of the AAA Baseball League in the World Series playoffs. That's the equivalent of what we do when JMU gets into the college football playoff and Notre Dame doesn't. I mean, I don't want to start any shit here, but this is what it is. Now, there is another post, obviously, I want to talk about that really outlined it. CFB Kings. Excuse me. I think he said it pretty well when I obviously looked at this post. And I'm going to pull it up here in just a moment. See if I can find his account real quick so you guys can see. Because he did a quote tweet. Trying to see if I can find it. Okay, here it is right here. All right. Now, it was similar along of what obviously was said today on the show. Now, I agree with CFB Kings because I think to a degree that the Group of Five gets very disrespected. in my humble opinion. And to his point, they've had a lot of signature wins. Memphis has won 4 consecutive games, right? South Florida was one of the sole teams that went to Florida in the swamp and obviously got a big time victory over Florida. Now Florida went 4-8. They didn't have a good year this past year. We know obviously they beat Texas. They did something Texas couldn't do, right? We seen the American Conference and how good that looked this year, right? Obviously Tulane came out on top. A big win for them last year. Notre Dame beat, Northern Illinois beat Notre Dame, who made it to the college football national championship game, right? And then Tulane's former quarterback Jake Retzlaff, he was obviously the quarterback for BYU and led them to an 11-2 season, right? We look at Old Dominion. A lot of these teams that we're making fun of, the North Texas, the Old Dominions, all these teams had high-powered offenses this year, ranked all the way up at the top. So they're and then to bring this point even further, when we look at obviously the group of five in the conference as a whole, tell me why 3 or 4 of the big SEC jobs hire a group of five. So if they're so irrelevant, then why are they hiring these positions, right? Think about it, y'all. Auburn hired Alex Golesh. He came over obviously from South Florida. Ryan Silverfield, he came over from obviously Memphis to go to Arkansas, right? That's another big job. John Summerall comes over from Tulane to take the Florida job, right? So we've seen all these significant high marquee places that needs coaches, that needs them to come in. They're going to group of five. So I think to just say and discredit that is a little bit disrespectful, right? Now, I'm not saying this upcoming weekend, these teams are going to beat these Power Four teams. But what I am saying, guys, is that it has changed, right? This is not the same as we've seen before, right? These are not pushover teams anymore. Okay, these teams can play at a high level, right? And you go in and you go into them contests and you think, oh yeah, we're gonna beat the hell out of this group of five team. You're gonna be well mistaken because all these teams can play at a high level. They have the players in order to compete. And what's changed, guys, is you have this NIL era, which obviously some people like, some people hate, and you have this transfer portal era where these kids can go and they can get developed at these schools and they can still play at a high level. You know what I'm saying? And they can go and still play group of five and then to power four at a high level. So when you have that, these teams are more competitive, right? There isn't a hierarchy as it used to be. Yes, there's the top national teams, the Ohio States, the Georgias, the Indianas, the Alabamas, all that good stuff. But these group of five teams are showing you, hey, that bottom team in your conference, we can go beat them. We can go beat a team like a Purdue. We can go beat a team like a Michigan State. We can go beat some of your best teams, right? We can go beat a team like Florida, who's obviously trash this year, but just using them as an example. We can go and we can compete. That is what's being shown here, and you have to give them that respect. And I think to Nick Saban's point, it is a little bit disrespectful to this point. And obviously, he's a great coach. And like I said, I'm one of those advocates that said he should be on the CFP playoff committee because he has so much astute knowledge and knows the game inside and out. But at the same time, you can't disrespect the group of five conference. You just can't do it. You just can't. And I'm not saying this is not SEC. This is not the creme de la creme, but these teams, it's no longer laughing stocks, right? You go in there, you don't take them serious, and you're going to find out, right? And that is the difference with these conferences now. You will find out pretty damn quickly, where it's at and where you are currently at. And I think that's something that these teams have to consider. This is something that these teams have to think about. And like I said, you go in and you're not ready, you'll get punched in the mouth. It's just that's just the bottom line. So yeah, that's where I'm at with that. I like Nick Saban, but I think it was a take that, what I'm saying, put a little bit more respect on the group of five name. You know what I'm saying? Put a little bit more respect on them. That's kind of where I'm at with that one, obviously. But that was a major headline, so I wanted to talk about that one, obviously as well, man. And then so those are some major ones. Let's hit this portal. A big one right here. I ain't gonna hit all of these because I want to do some of these for my TikTok. But this one right here is obviously big. Jaden Ball, right? Obviously Georgia, the team that looks like they could be potentially interested. If I'm Texas, I'm gonna try to go after Jaden Ball as well, and they're trying to keep him now. Right now, remember this past week, Florida has gotten the majority of the staff from Georgia Tech, right? Buster Faulkner, their H-backs coach, their assistant offensive line coach, right? So Florida's trying to do everything in their power to keep the roster that they currently have, right? And some pieces have left. They have double-digit players that have hit the portal, right? And obviously, when a new head coach comes in, not everybody's going to stay, right? He has to like you, like your tape, like what you've been able to do, obviously, out there. So I think this is a massive movement. And if you're Florida, you don't want him to go. This is one of the best backs in the country, right? You line him up pound for pound. There's not too many other ones you want to go. Maybe you say Ahmad Hardy, but outside of him, who else? This is one of the top backs. You don't want to lose him. So this is smart on Florida, trying to keep him out of the portal. Obviously, he's expected to go, but this would be a major move for them to keep him and not allow him to go. So that's a big time headline. Let's hit another big one. This one is big as well. Bo Perbula, second year in a row hitting that transfer portal. Right? Why is this massive? He had Missouri playing at new heights, right? So obviously, this already means he's not playing in the Gator Bowl against Virginia if he's planning to hit the portal, right? But Bo Perbula was so good this year for obviously this team and led them to an 8-4 record. Right now, obviously some big games in there that they lost. They had Alabama on the ropes, could have won, but he was a guy that I don't want to say made Missouri football relevant, but he did have them play at a relevant level this year. He did have them play at a high level this year. So Bo Perbula is a guy that's going to be heavily coveted. And if I'm college football world, I'm going to go probably try to go after him, right? If I'm Georgia Tech, I want to go pursue him. If I'm Florida, I want to go pursue him. If I'm Miami, I want to go pursue him because he has that starting caliber experience. He's shown that he can play at a high level, obviously SEC ball, and he can come in and you can plug and play him. He didn't play a lot, obviously, at Penn State before he transferred over to Missouri. He showed you this year he can easily be a competent quarterback. Now, he dealt with the injury that obviously derailed some of his play this year. But other than that, this is a guy that can play football at a high level. So he's going to be another heavily coveted guy in the transfer portal. And to me, this class looks like it's shaping up to be one of the better transfer portal classes in terms of the quarterback position. There's so many guys that you can go after. I'm saying? Drew Mestemaker, Bo Perbula, Dylan Rayola, DJ Lagway, Colton Joseph, I'm saying? Aiden Childs, Kenny Minchie. There's so many guys in this portal you can go get that makes your team infinitely better. And Bo Perbula is obviously one of those guys. All right. So that's the next headline I wanted to hit, obviously, of course. And then I just wanted to talk about the portal a little bit. Obviously, some major guys hit that. We'll go ahead and pull up this portal. And I didn't even mention him, but Brandon Sorsby. Make sure it ain't buffing. Brandon Sorsby is another guy I think that plays at a very high level that should be considered. And he's already kind of drawn that interest, right? Now he makes a lot of sense going to Texas Tech. They use the portal. They like to deal out their money, obviously, out there. He's from Denton, Texas. It makes a lot of sense because Bryn Morton is going to be going after this year, after this championship caliber run that they're going to try to go on. Why not go get a guy like a Brandon Sorsby to kind of fill that role again next year? Right? 4-star caliber quarterback. Obviously, he's the highest rated player in the transfer portal per 247 Sports. So why would you not want to go get him and make him a part of your team, make him a part of your offense? It makes too much damn sense if you Texas Tech. Now, other teams that can make sense is a Baylor. Baylor, obviously, Sawyer Robinson's a senior. They could use another quarterback of his caliber to play. And he just came off playing Big 12 football. SEC caliber teams also make sense for Brendan Sorsby as well. Several teams that could use a quarterback out there. Sorsby's one of those plug-and-play guys. He don't turn over the football, 2,800 yards passing, 27 touchdowns, just 5 interceptions this year. Kid can sling it. Kid is an absolute stud. Why would you not want Brendan Sorsby on your team? Excuse me. So obviously he's a major caliber guy that, if you want, that's who you want to obviously go get. You know what I'm saying? So he's a guy definitely heavily coveted that should obviously be able to do it. Next guy I want to bring up is this one right here, man. Jay Crawford. Now, this kid is an absolute stud. You see this past year, had another productive year. I think he had 15 tackles, 4 passes defense. I think he had a forced fumble as well. What was so cool and unique this year for him, who was a former 4-star prospect, they were blitzing him. They was bringing him off the edge. They was allowing him to do press coverage. He was doing a little bit of everything. So this is a guy that's really good that I think more people need to talk about. And he's a heavily coveted cornerback. He's definitely going to get an even bigger bag than what he got at Auburn. It's going to be interesting to see where he lands because he can go and play day one. If I'm Tech, I'm interested, right? Because he played his high school ball here at Parkview, right? Where he kind of became a star. I'm going to go see what he's talking about, see how much he's going to cost me in the portal. Because if you Tech, you're missing 2 guys, right? Amari Harvey is leaving, right? And graduating. Rodney Shelley is leaving as well. Only returner you have, obviously, that started for you last year is Zachary Toby. You do bring back Kelvin Hill. You do bring back Daquan White. But why not have a player of this caliber potentially as your CB1? Why is that not possible, right? So you have to think about that as well. And that's obviously that's going to be massive moving forward. But there's several teams he could go to. He could go play USC. He could go play Texas. Like it's so he can fit anywhere. That's what makes this kid special. That's what makes him elite. He can go anywhere and play at a high level. So that's another player I want to talk about. Been performing obviously, excuse me, at a high level. And then I wanted to react. Obviously, everyone's been asking me, and I did a video on it, and I did a breakdown of a player as well, man. But this is just the reality of college football. This is the reality of college football. It sucks to lose Aaron Philo, but like Coach Key kind of said in his presser today, or his interview with 680, like it's gonna happen when you winning games and you a 9-win team, an 8-win team, 10-win team. People are going to want to poach your players. People are going to want to go get your coaches. And if you're coaching on that staff, you're going to think, hey, we just had a good year. Let me go see my next opportunity, because that's all it is, y'all. Y'all got to think about it like this. It's a platform. It's like, okay, same thing. I have my platform, right? I'm noticing today more people are tuning in, right? I had at least up to 7 to 8 people that's watching me live right now, right? I'm trying to build this thing to be a place where you come nonstop college football, right? Nonstop college basketball, just talking sports and building to a national platform. It's the same thing for these coaches, y'all. These coaches want to go to a spot where they can go, they can develop, they can get better. You know what I'm saying? They can win a lot of games, and then they can take the next jump, right? That's just how it goes. You look at any coordinator, right? Kirby Smart was on Alabama staff. Kirby Smart's now one of the best coaches in college football, right? Go look at Dan Lanning. Look where they started. Same thing, right? Lane Kiffin, same thing. Like all these guys had to start somewhere, get a marquee job, and then obviously upgrade and go somewhere else. Now they're going to Florida. We'll see how that obviously works out and shapes out. But Florida is it's a bigger job than Georgia Tech is currently. But Georgia Tech, they keep winning these games, keep having these coordinators go. They could be the marquee job in the ACC. You know what I'm saying? Why can they not? Right. So when you have that, you're going to see coaches leave. You're going to see people want to get your players. So it's unfortunate for Aaron Follow, but credit to Georgia Tech though. Per reports, again, I'm going to say per reports, they dealt out and matched the offer that obviously Florida offered him, right? Which was apparently around $3 million. That's a lot, y'all, for a quarterback. Now, Follow has played a little bit, you know what I'm saying? Played NC State, Miami game, things like that. But he didn't play like Haynes King, right? He didn't play, no, I'm not saying the level, but he didn't play as many games as he did, right? That's a lot to deal out, y'all. When you have a whole roster you got to think about, right? And there's going to be guys that hit the portal. We know about Tena Alo Tupaloa. He hit the portal. Peyton Joseph hit the portal. Obviously, Follow has hit the portal. Guys are going to hit the portal left and right. But it's about getting the players that, one, that want to be there, and then two, building a team that you get back to that level and increase and grow even more. So it's unfortunate he was the heir apparent to QB1, but that's the cool part about college football. Just because your situation one year, because this past year for Georgia Tech, it looked Haynes King, Follow, Graham Knowles, Grady Adamson. Now it's Haynes King graduates, Aaron Follow leads to the portal, and then obviously now it's at Graham Knowles. Now it's what are you going to do if you're Georgia Tech? Do you bring in a transfer portal quarterback? Do you bring in somebody new to fit obviously this offense in this scheme? So that's kind of what's going on now. So just because your situation looks like 1, 2, 3, 4, it can change at a snap of a hat. You know what I'm saying? So you never know, right? And it's unfortunate. And I can't blame the kid for wanting to go get the pape. You know what I'm saying? What's wrong with wanting to go get the pape? I don't see nothing wrong with it. You know what I'm saying? And what's wrong with going with a guy you've been familiar with in Buster Faulkner, who was pivotal in recruiting you and flipping you from obviously Minnesota? I don't see a problem. That's just college football, y'all. That's the era we're in. But obviously, big move for him. He moves on. For Georgia Tech, you go get the next guy out of the portal, right? You've built something special, So you got guys. You got Graham Knowles, 6'7", 230. You got a Grady Adamson from Deer Creek, Oklahoma, who plays at a high level, good improviser as well. And you got Cole Bergeron, who's a 4-star prospect. So you got the pieces you need at the quarterback spot. You might need to get just one more guy in that room. One more guy. You get one more guy in that room, you feel pretty good. You know what I'm saying? So it was a tough blow, unfortunate, but it ain't the end of the world. You know what I'm saying? It ain't the end of the world. You're going to be okay if you Georgia Tech. You're going to figure it out. You know what I'm saying? But it's about getting the right staff members in there, the right quarterback in there, and you're going to be just fine. Okay? So I did want to hit on that. Obviously, him hitting the portal was obviously massive news. A couple other quarterbacks I didn't mention that's going to be available in the portal. I wanted to mention this guy right here, man. He's pretty good. I don't know why he's not on here. Obviously for 247, but I'll look him up over here. But he's going to be a major get. It feels like he could potentially go to LSU. But this guy right here, Sam Leavitt, A name to know. Obviously played at a high level. His redshirt freshman campaign with Arizona State. They made the quarterfinals of the college football playoff. You know what I'm saying? He played pretty well. Only, I think, 4 interceptions, 2,600 yards passing. Had a pretty productive year. This year, not to the same level or degree as he did before, but at the same time, he had an injury. But guess what? They're the only team this year that knocked off Texas Tech, right, at home. So when he's home and he's healthy and he's playing, Sam Leave is definitely one of those better quarterbacks. But it's gonna be interesting to see where he lands. That's why I said this cycle, it is so good because there are so many quarterbacks you can go after that can help you play and help you win. We see it every year. Cam Ward from, Carnet Ward or, wherever he was at before, coming over to Miami, right? This past year, Fernando Mendoza coming over from Cal, having a Heisman candidate season, having a Heisman season with Indiana. Darian Mensah coming over from Tulane and having the type of caliber year, all ACC second team caliber year with obviously the Duke Blue Devils and winning an ACC championship, right? Chandler Morris, formerly from North Texas, coming over to Virginia, putting them in the ACC championship game. We see it all the time, right? Whoever gets Sam Leave, same thing. Like, you're going to get a marquee caliber guy. You will. And that's what makes this portal so good. Like, so many quarterbacks are going to be able to throw that. Now, some of these guys are going to be expensive. The Dylan Rayolas, the Sam Leavis, the Drew Mestimakers, and some guys are going to be pretty efficient for you. You ain't going to have to probably spend as much coin. The Kenny Minchies, the Colton Josephs, those kind of guys you probably won't have to spend as much, money for, and they can come in and be competent for you. But it's going to be interesting to see. But this is another big guy that hit the portal. Obviously, that was massive. Now, I want to hit probably one more headline before we obviously get into the college football playoff breakdowns. I don't want to hit all these because, like I said, some of these I'm going to do for my TikTok and hit some of these videos. But one more guy I wanted to hit. Let me see. Guess what? Go ahead and do it right here. He'll be the last one we do for today. Go ahead and share my screen. 1 second. All right, this guy right here. Now, coming out of high school, I know he played at obviously a high level. Luke Cromenhall played for Benedictine. Ended up going to Florida State. Obviously, ended up leaving, hitting the portal, going to Mississippi State. 5-star recruit. I'm sorry, I said 4-star. He's a 5-star recruit. But a guy that can play. And definitely can play at a high level. But he's in that situation now. 2 years in college football. He has to find a team where he can go play. That's the bottom line. He has to find a team he can go play and he can have a significant impact. Now, I don't know if that's going to the group of 5 level. I don't know if that's going to a lower tier team as well. That's going to be interesting. But he didn't play a lot, right? And then when Blake Shapen got hurt, they went to the true freshman. They went to Kamario Taylor, who was a 4-star prospect coming out of high school. So he's in a tough spot, to say at least for Luke Cromenhall. It'd be interesting to see kind of where he goes and what team gets him. See where he goes and what team gets him. But it's a situation where he's going to need the right people around him, the right team. I'm trying to think of some off the top of my head that he can go and potentially play. Virginia could be an option for him as well. I know they got a lot of young quarterbacks over there, but he could probably go there, but potentially maybe play. Tech wouldn't be a bad option as well. He's young. He played here, obviously, in Georgia. That wouldn't be a bad option for him. He could potentially compete and contend for a job. So Tech might not be a bad option for, obviously, Luke Cromenhall. Penn State could be an option he goes. Not saying he's going to start or he's going to play, but new head coach, Matt Campbell, see what he thinks, obviously, about Luke Cromenhall. So there's a few options out there for him to go to, but he's definitely in a tough spot because 2 stops, 5-star recruit, hasn't really played a lot, and is looking for an opportunity, man. So very interesting to see where this guy is going to land, but obviously massive for him. But y'all, that's going to do it for the national headlines. Y'all make sure, like I said, y'all have any that y'all want me to hit, y'all let me know. More news we didn't talk about. We talked about Rayola hitting the portal, Crawford, and obviously Philo. But if there's other things you guys want me to hit, let me know. And let me know, too, in the comments, man. I think I'm going to pose a question for you guys. Would you guys like me to see me do my show on Thursdays? So I'm going to go ahead and give y'all a Q&A real quick. Would you like to see... Because I'm trying to connect with y'all on Wednesday or Thursday. All right. So I just started a Q&A. Y'all let me know, what y'all want to see. Do y'all want to see it on Thursday? Comment down below if you're watching. If you have time to comment when you want to see the show. If y'all want to see it on two, oh, I usually do Wednesdays. But do y'all want to see it Wednesdays or do y'all want to see it on Thursdays? Y'all let me know down in the comments, man. And appreciate all the love and support, man. 1,900 subscribers. Y'all keep telling a friend and tell a friend, man. And we're gonna keep growing this thing. All right. Now let's hit the nitty gritty. Yes, sir. Let's talk about it. Gosh, internet, come on, bro. Come on, there we go. There we go. The nitty gritty. All right. Alabama and Oklahoma. Y'all know I had to touch out with a preview. I know I had to talk about this video today, man, because this game is tomorrow. This game is tomorrow. I'm excited. This is a big game for both teams, man. If you Bama, you come into this game, you got the most pressure on you, right? The reason you got the most pressure on you is because a lot of people feel like you shouldn't even be in this spot, right? We've seen the talks, we've seen the discussions with the Alabama staff, and even with obviously Kalen DeBoer. Kalen DeBoer has been linked to jobs like Michigan, right, and things like that. And Kalen DeBoer had to even come out with a statement that says, "No, I'm fully committed, basically, to the program. I ain't looking at this spot, blah blah blah." Right? But it's interesting because his job really on the line. People like when I said that on my TikTok, people thought I was crazy as hell. But it's like I'm not saying they're gonna fire him, but he probably ain't gonna get no extension, right? Because it's like Bama is having this. They hope this guy returns. Hold on, they hope this guy. If y'all can see that, they hoping he returns, right? Not saying he will, but they're so enamored with what Saban did for them, they don't realize this is a new era, right? And I ain't saying Kalen DeBoer can't coach, but it ain't gonna be the same caliber team that you had with Saban. It is not possible. It ain't possible. You know what I'm saying? This is a completely different coach, and I feel like they hold him to such a high regard in the degree, and they expect him to be all the way up here. And it's like it ain't gonna happen. The dude still can recruit at a high level, obviously. Some will say that's the Alabama brand. Some will say, what I'm saying, that's because of what Saban did. But he's recruiting his butt off. You know what I'm saying? Getting primetime prospects, the Jordan Edmonds, the Xavier Griffins. He's bringing elite guys into this program. Xavier Crowell is another one as well. But it's like they did not close the season good. Bama struggled mightily, right? And they lost to Georgia. That's not the end of the world. The problem was you got the beat out of you. That's the problem. You lost 28-7. You got throttled. You know what I'm saying? In the SEC championship game. So bad to a degree, like you shouldn't even be in, right? And then you struggled in the Iron Bowl against Alabama. I mean, against Auburn, your rival, which I understand it's rivalry week. I get it. But even in that game, Ty Simpson played decent, but he only had 122 yards rushing. I mean, in passing, and 3 touchdowns. That's it. And Bama's been known obviously for just having good defense, running the football, right? And we know Jam Miller was injured, right? And he didn't play. We know he didn't play in obviously that game against Georgia. We know all those things, y'all. But the fact that they struggled that bad against Georgia, a team they went into Athens and beat, the team currently constructed right now and how it looks right now for Alabama is completely different from the team that played and went into Athens and beat Georgia. That's the bottom line. So the pressure is on them is because, one, you have that notion that you shouldn't be in. Two, Kalen DeBoer's trying to get that next contract with Alabama in the Crimson Tide, right? And number three, what I'm saying, you're trying to prove, should we even be here? Should we be a team that's in the CFP playoff? And then four, this team has your number. If Oklahoma wins this game, that's their third win in 13 months over Alabama. Damn, Oklahoma? That's not something you would definitely say, right? And that's not an easy place to win. It ain't easy to win in Norman. You know what I'm saying? It's tough to win over there. And that defense is something special. This one, hey, man, this one of the top-ranked defenses for a reason, right? These boys don't be playing. You know what I'm saying? They only giving up 273.6 yards per game. Oklahoma got a squad on defense, bro. Okay, they get after you. They make it tough on you. That defensive front something special. We seen Auburn go up in there and struggle. We seen Missouri go up there and struggle. Like we've seen teams go in Norman and not be able to do nothing. Now the one thing you got if you're Alabama is their offense has been putrid the last few weeks. Like you go look at the game against LSU 17-6. You know what I'm saying? A team you should throttle. You know what I'm saying? And then a few weeks ago they had another game they struggled. Like The offense ain't playing well right now, and the quarterback been struggling. The game against LSU, he had 3 picks. You know what I'm saying? And he ain't been right since he had that injury. You know what I'm saying? So when I break down this matchup and I look at the keys to the game, Alabama, get your running game going. Not saying Ty Simpson can't throw the football, not saying he can complete at a high level. He can do all those things and more. But you got to take some heat off of him. Because you go and you let that defensive line tee off on you. Good damn luck. You know what I'm saying? Good luck trying to stop that, obviously, them and trying to slow you down. You know what I'm saying? Good luck. But if you Bama, if Jam Miller can play, I don't know the injury report. I haven't got a chance to look. But that is what you're going to have to do. You're going to have to be able to establish the run, lean into your play action, find some way to get Ryan Williams involved. I don't know what the hell didn't happen to him. He was coming like one of the top receivers in the game, and now he's almost like an afterthought. He's like, what, wide receiver 3 right now? So you're going to have to figure that part out. You're going to have to be able to run the ball at a high level. You're going to have to be able to use that play action to set them shot plays down the field. And you're going to have to get in a rhythm offensively early in this game. Because if you're in them long third downs and distances with that defensive front, yeah, good luck. You know what I'm saying? I don't see it on the road. So if you're Bama, you got to get the running game going somehow, some way. You know what I'm saying? And you got to lean on you like Jeremy Bernard. You got to lean on, obviously, Ryan Williams. You can get him obviously involved. And then Isaiah Horton's another obviously option for you. So that's something I'm thinking about, in this game, obviously, if I am Alabama. Now, Oklahoma, your defense is going to keep you in this game. That's just the bottom line. They're going to keep you in this game. But what you have to do if you Oklahoma is you got to get some semblance of a run game. It can't just be John Mateer, right? Blaylock and others have to step up big because Bama got a defensive front too led by LT Overton that can play, right? So if you play around with that, they can also get after you. So you got to try to establish some kind of a run as well. And I think the key in this game is going to be special teams play. Who's going to get it started? Whether that's a 20-yard return, 30-yard return, whatever it is, somebody's going to have to get this game going on either side of the ball. If either team wants to obviously have a chance, right? Somebody's going to have to get after it. You know what I'm saying? So those are my keys to the game. Players are watching for, like I said, LT Overton, Jefferson, their linebacker. He's been playing at a high level this year. And then just blocking that defensive front, right? Good luck because their front seven is special, obviously, for Oklahoma. But that's going to be the key if Alabama wants to come out. Can't turn over the football, right? And you got to get shot plays down the field, right? And you got to keep that defense on their heels. If you don't, good luck. Hold on, I'm trying to find this injury report for y'all. They don't have any more. Let me see if they have an Alabama injury report before I get my prediction. Okay, here we go. I'm going to share this with y'all. All right. Here it is before I break down who I'm going with. Okay, so this is the injury report, right? No Gentry Williams, no Kendall Doby, no Jeremiah Newcomb, no Troy Everett, no Jake McCullough, no Javante Barnes. For Alabama, no Cameron Howard, no Jamarian Latham, no Drake Kirkpatrick Jr., I said LT Overton play. He's not even playing. No LT Overton, no Kevin Riley, no Jeremiah Beeman, no Joshua Cuevas, and then no Danny Lewis Jr. All right, so that is obviously the report prior to the game, right? So that does bring a little bit in who's going to create pressure outside of LT Overton, who's not playing in this game for Alabama. It's going to be interesting to see and to say the least, right? But nonetheless, y'all, I'm going to be real, man. I am rolling with Oklahoma. Till I see it from Bama, who was a team that looks different than what it did earlier in the season. I'm going to go with Oklahoma and the Sooners, John Mateer company, to come out with a big-time victory against Alabama, excuse me. So I'm going to go close game. I'm going to go 27-20 victory for the Sooners. They move on, and a lot of questions come into play for Kalen DeBoer and obviously the latest with Alabama. So I'm going to go with Oklahoma. All right, let's hit our next game. All right, the big one. Sucks that this game is at 11 o'clock, by the way. That does suck. I don't know why we're doing that, nonetheless, man, but that does suck that this game is at 11 o'clock. All right. But Miami, Texas A&M, massive game. Both teams, Hurricanes. I'm glad they're in the CFP playoff. Deserve to be in. We've talked about that, obviously, throughout the past few weeks. But this is not an easy game at all, right? Texas A&M had one loss and dropped, obviously, to number 7, right? They've been top tier all year. They lost to their rival Texas, right? We know they can run the ball with, obviously, Owens, Raheem Owens on the ground. Marcel Reed, I thought, had a Heisman candidate worthy season. Not saying he should have won it over, obviously Fernando Mendoza, but he's been in that conversation all year. Thought he played well. Texas A&M also got some good news today. Mario Craver re-signed up with them, so that's some cool news for the Aggies. But a team that can hit you in a whole bunch of different ways, man. This game gonna come down to really the trenches, right? For my Hurricanes, I think we got one of the best offensive lines in the country, led by Francis Makawa. Can we protect Carson Beck? Right? Can we get the running game going with Mark Fletcher, and a dynamic duo in rushing attack? Right? That's gonna be key for me. Establishing the run in this game early on, and then hitting our receivers down the field. Right? Malachi Tony, freshman sensation. I think it was ACC Offensive Player of the Year, or ACC Rookie of the Year, Freshman of the Year, whatever you want to say. Had obviously a great season. But for Carson Beck, man, these big games he struggled. And turnover the football, right? I think he had 4 of his 6 turnovers, or 4 of his 10 interceptions. It was Louisville, SMU, and it's like Texas A&M is a team. You can't turn over the football, right? You turn over the football, you might not get it back, right? Or you turn over the football, they can run away with the game, right? So that does concern me as a Hurricanes fan. Like, do we have enough? Not necessarily enough like talent. I know we have that, but do we have enough? Can we get enough from Beck in this game going up against the Aggies on the road, right? Because it's gonna be tough. It's tough to play at Kyle Field. It's tough to play against the Aggies. That environment is next level, right? Obviously, Beck's played in some big games, but this is a massive one at noon, right? It's for our playoff lives, and really to think about it too, like Miami's playing for the ACC. ACC didn't have its best year, unfortunately. I thought it was very competitive, but it didn't have its best year, right? And a win over SEC opponent. Can you imagine what that does for the ACC? Can you imagine what that does for Miami and the Hurricanes potentially? Now, don't get no easy because you win, you play Ohio State, right? But can you imagine how great of a game that would be? So if you're the Hurricanes, establish the run, be physical. You're gonna have to hit Texas A&M in the mouth, right? And that's hard to do. We got guys in pro level guys like a Cassius Howell and guys that can get after you like a York, on the defensive side of the ball. It's tough. And then they got really good corners as well. You got Scooby Williams. I didn't even mention him. He's another outstanding player for Texas A&M. They got dogs all over the field. So to win this game on the road, it's not going to be easy. But you need Beck to take care of the football. That's the bottom line. And you got to establish the run. And when the shot plays are there with Malachi Tony, CJ Daniels, and some of those weapons you got, you're going to have to hit them in the mouth, right? Defensively, for my Hurricanes, what's key is same kind of thing. You only have to, and the thing with Miami is they perform really well against running quarterbacks. We've seen it all season long. They perform well against these type of guys, right? But you're going to have to close down the pocket. You're going to have to make it tough. Like big games they won, like beating the NC State running quarterback and CJ Bailey, limited him, right? Marshall Reed is a different animal, right? But you got guys like Akeem Messidor. You got guys like Ruben Bain, right? Messidor with 7 sacks, Ruben Bain with like 4.5. You have those guys, but the key thing is to contain your rush lanes, right? Have even sometimes a QB spy on him. Don't let him flood the pocket because that's where he's dangerous. Because he can flood the pocket, he can run, or he can throw that big play down the field. So keep integrity in your rush lanes, batter and pressure him all game long, and you need to probably a couple turnovers or two. Now, Texas A&M is dangerous when they got the running game going to pair with the passing game because they got guys like Kevin Concepcion. They got guys like Mario Craver that can hit you down the field. Now, I like our secondary, Bryce Fitzgerald. I like our cornerbacks. They've been playing well all season long. And I like the ways that we can obviously rush the passer. But you're going to have to maintain gap integrity, rush integrity all game long. Or Marcel Reed will lice all game long. That's going to be key for my Hurricanes in this one, man. Call me biased. I love Texas A&M. I love what they can bring to the table, but I'm going to roll with my Hurricanes, man. Upset victory for us over Texas A&M. Won't be easy. This team can play. It's tough to win at Kyle Field. They have everything they need. They've been playing at a high level all season long. But I like my Hurricanes, man. I believe in them. I think they're going to be ready to go. And I think they're going to be able to create that pressure on the quarterback, you know what I'm saying, in this game. And it's going to be key for us if we want to have a chance to be able to get the yak yardage, be able to make guys miss, which Malachi Tony is good at, and being able to get up the field quickly and not turn over the football. That's going to be key for us in this game if we want to come out, obviously, with a victory. All right. There you have it, man. Let's hit the next game. Oh, and my score is going to be 31-20. My Miami Hurricanes, 31-20. All right. All right. Let's hit the next one. All right. As y'all can see, Tulane and Ole Miss, right? Big game right here, y'all. Big game. Tulane and Ole Miss. All right. Now, what makes this game big? Now Tulane has a better chance than people think or want to give credit for, right? The Green Wave can really come in here and make some noise, right? They got a quarterback that's played on this stage before, Jake Retzlaff. They got guys that can get the ball to, and things like that on the outside. Tulane's been really good this year, and like I said, they got a dual threat, and obviously, Retzlaff who can kind of slice and dice you, right? The key thing for Ole Miss is what level is this team at right now, right? Losing your head coach the way you lost your head coach, being in the headlines, you know what I'm saying, not necessarily having everything you need. Pete Golden's your new head coach now. He's your defensive coordinator. All the talent is there, but what's the vibes of the team? Can the team respond? Can they react in the right way? You got one of the best backs in the SEC, him and Ahmad Hardy and Keywan Lacey, who is obviously all SEC first team. So we know you can run the ball. We know you got weapons on the outside. Harry Wallace, the third. You got obviously Caden Lee. You got obviously Hilton Alexander or Deuce Alexander, the second. So you got weapons in this game to thrive. But the key is just the moxie of the team. Can they overcome everything they had to deal with the past few weeks, the coach leaving, and all that good stuff? That's going to be obviously key in this game to kind of watch out for. And then can they protect? Tulane has a really good defensive line. People don't think about it enough, but guys like Dyson and they can get after you. You know what I'm saying, defensively. Excuse me. They could play at a high level. Do you have something in place to not allow them to take over the game? That's going to be kind of massive in this game as well. And the key matchup to watch out for is the passing attack with Trinidad Chambliss, who I've called numerous of times. QB1, going up against kind of that defense for Tulane, who hasn't been the best necessarily at defending the pass. And you got a top passing attack going up against Trinidad Chambliss and all those weapons I mentioned. So that's going to be the first matchup to watch, obviously, in this game. The second matchup to watch is if they will have a plan for Jake Retzlaff, who can do a little bit of everything, right? He can run the ball. He can pass it. He's a true dual threat QB. He can do a little bit of everything. Do you have a plan in place for him to kind of slow him down? That's going to be obviously massive in this game for them, trying to slow him down as well. So interesting one to see. This one, I do like Ole Miss. Ole Miss should be able to win this home game. Go 12-1, get a big time victory. You know what I'm saying, against them. I like the defense. I like obviously some of their pass rushers, and things like that. But I think Ole Miss should be ready to go. Should get a big win, obviously, over Tulane. But don't be surprised if Tulane comes in this one and they're ready early, right? Still got John Summerall. He's going obviously to Florida. He will be coaching in this game for them. So he's a really good coach. We will see. Like Ole Miss is gonna have to be ready to go. You know what I'm saying? Can't sleep on Tulane in the offense and do a threat attack. And they're gonna have to make sure they don't give up the big plays down the field on defense for Ole Miss. They've been a little susceptible to that. We've seen against the Georgia game, gave up some of the big plays. Can't do that against Tulane, or you could be in for a long day. But I'm gonna go Ole Miss. I'm gonna go 30-20 victory over Tulane. They should be able to win this one. So I'm gonna go with Ole Miss. All right, y'all. Last one. All right. Last one, y'all. JMU versus Oregon. All right. Now, JMU's been in the headlines. A lot of people don't feel like they should be in. Strength of schedule, strength of record, whatever, whatever. 12-1. I love it. I love to see group of five teams in the CFP playoff, right? I think a lot of times they don't be fair. They want to have the teams they want to have in. I like it, man. I'm actually glad they're in. And I actually hope they expand the college football playoff. Go 16 teams. You know what I'm saying? Go 16 teams. And I think they should even allow, they given, Notre Dame, automatic spot if they're 12, top 12 team or whatever it is, and certain things for certain teams. Like let group of five get at least one or two teams in every year. Make it fun. Like that's what makes college basketball so fun. Like anybody can get in, anybody can win a game on any given day. Now, the likelihood of them actually beating Oregon, I don't see it because Oregon is deep. And then you even saw this week as an injury update, Evan Stewart was with the team practicing. We know he got hurt right before the season started. Dante Moore was a Heisman candidate as well this season. He performed really good. Decorian Moore, we know what he does with the ball in his hands. You know what I'm saying? Dante Moore threatening you, slicing and dicing you coming over from UCLA, 24 touchdowns this year. He's been superb along with Whittington. So the odds are stacked against you if you're obviously JMU. But you just love to be in the spot to be able to compete and put your team out there on the map. But Oregon's a tough environment. Like, not everybody's going in there and winning football games. Just not a thing. You know what I'm saying? And Oregon's one of those rare breeds, like they can run the ball and they can pass it. They're well balanced attack. They can do a little bit of everything, and that's what makes them so important. They have guys like Benson on the outside that can win one-on-one coverage, but then they have guys that can give the ball to and keep you on your edge. Now, the key in this one, if JMU wants to make this interesting, you're gonna have to strike early, right? You're gonna have to get a big play in something, a turnover, a big play in special teams. Like you're gonna have to steal away a possession from Oregon early in the game. That's just what that is what has to happen if you want to even have a chance to go against them. No disrespect, right? Like I like JMU. I like the season that they're having. Barnett's been really good this year, 21 touchdowns, 2,500 yards passing, only one loss this season. Knight is having obviously a great year. Wayne Knight, what I'm saying, top 10 in rushing yards this year, 1,263 yards. He's been fabulous, 6.6 yards per rush. He's been doing his thing. But nonetheless, you never played an opponent like this if you JMU, right? At least in recent memory. Now, I ain't saying you can't compete. Anybody can compete, but the key to you competing is getting a great early start. It has to start there. You have to get a great early start in this game, and you have to be able to get some negative plays. Because if you don't, it's going to be a long day for you, right? Oregon's an elite offense, right? And the reason they're an elite offense, they can do a little bit of everything, right? As I just alluded to earlier. So if you JMU, you need a special teams play, right? You need a turnover. You need some different stuff in this one. And then you have to capitalize on your opportunities. There's going to be probably a few out there. Capitalize on your opportunities. You know what I'm saying? Being able to obviously win the game, in those key critical areas, you know what I'm saying? And being able to attack one area that you can attack Oregon is their red zone defense. It hasn't been best this year. If you JMU, you have a pretty good red zone offense. Attack Oregon's red zone defense. But in order to get that, you need big plays. You need big plays on the field. You have to strike early and often in this game, right? So that's going to be key. Got to get a good start, right? Oregon's a very formidable team. They've been in some dogfights this year, right? They've been in some dogfights. But nonetheless, man, Oregon should come out on top, man. Oregon should be able to handle business. I love the story of JMU. I hope they make this game competitive. But with Dan Lanning, Dante Moore, the ability to run the ball with Whittington, Corey Moore, Benson, the defense, having one of the better defenses, I think, in the country. I don't see it for JMU, respectfully. So I'm going to go Oregon Ducks on top. I'm going to go 38-20 victory for Oregon. I think they win this one pretty handily. No disrespect to JMU. I just don't think they're ready just yet. But, hey, they're a program on the rise. You got Billy Napier now as your new head coach. Should be able to continue to take you to new heights. But I love the season that they've had. 12-1 on the year. You can't beat that. You won the Sun Belt Conference. You beat Old Dominion in the Sun Belt Championship. And you got in. That's what matters. You got into the CFP playoff, and at least you were able to make this story. And what's cool is you're putting the group of five on a national stage. Like JMU, and also, Tulane. You're putting group of five on a national stage. So you got to think, take advantage of our opportunities. We're in this stage. We're on this field. How can we better help group of five where it's not like, Nah, they shouldn't be in. How do we make it to where no, we should be in and we can compete and contend at a high level? That is what a group of five teams should be thinking in this one. Like I said, if they can somehow pull off an upset, it don't matter if it's JMU, it don't matter if it's Tulane. If you can somehow pull off an upset and do that, that's massive moving forward for group of five and their testament to why they should be in the CFP playoff. So a big weekend coming up for group of five teams, big weekend coming up for those conferences, the Sun Belts, the Americans, um, the Conference USAs. All those are massive, man, because if you can win and play at a high level, you can get to CFP and be on the national stage. So those are the big games this weekend. Another one, last one I want to talk about was Memphis and NC State. Obviously, a very interesting spot to be in for either team. Playing in the Gasparilla Bowl. Not sure. It's really hard to judge this game because I'm not sure who's going to play and who's not. When it comes to this contest, obviously it's tomorrow at 2:30. The reason I don't know because so much turmoil and change. Right, what's going to happen with CJ Bailey? Hollywood Smothers obviously is not playing this game. He just hit the portal. Memphis head coach Ryan Silverville is obviously, he's going to Arkansas, right? So there's so much going on in this game, and it's tough to know what's going to happen, who's going to play, who's not going to play. Will Lewis finish out his career with Memphis, who obviously had a pretty good year, couldn't quite win those big games, but obviously, two teams kind of going in different directions, right? NC State, a team that see what happens kind of going forward. Do they keep Bailey? Do they not? Probably not going to have the majority of your roster playing. Obviously, for Memphis, you lost your head coach. You know what I'm saying? You're moving in a different direction as well. So hard to really talk about this one a lot. But should be interesting bowl game to see who plays. Jaden Duke Scott will be one to watch for obviously NC State. He'll probably be running back one next year for them. Balled out against Georgia Tech, 196 in the tub this past year. Pretty good quarterback to say the least, man. But it's interesting to see what they decide to do, in this game. If Lewis plays, if some of those stud players like Broomfield and Bram Jr., if they're going to play in this game or not, man. But that's my thoughts, man. That's college football, man. That's my preview. And again, y'all let me know because hey, look, shout out to y'all. We got 42 people in here that watched me today. So shout out to y'all. And again, I want to know, please let me know in the comments, what I'm saying. Let me know what you guys think. What I'm saying, if you guys want to see a show like this every Thursday, Wednesday, like I've been doing them on Wednesday, had a lot going on. But if you guys want to see a show like this on Wednesday, Thursday, a lot of good feedback today. So I appreciate everybody tuning in. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe. I will see you guys in the next one. And let me know what time, what day you guys rather see me go live. Please, let me know, and I want to connect more with y'all. Hope y'all enjoy the rest of y'all day, and I hope y'all enjoy these game picks and enjoy college football this weekend. It should be a lot of fun. I'll have reactions on the channel all day long from the matchups, man. I'll give y'all my thoughts, man. So I'll see y'all then, man. Peace.